Welcome back to the Gridiron Drive YouTube channel. We are firing off some bold takes today. We've got 4 bold takes, 2 from me, 2 from Pete. We're going to get spicy ahead of the NFL season. Comment down below. Let us know what you think of these takes and if you've got any bold takes of your own. And make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video that's got 4 more bold takes. Why don't you kick us off with your first take that you want to fire off ahead of the 2024 NFL season?
I'll start like lukewarm.
Okay. We're gonna work our way up.
Yeah, I think the Patriots finally bottom out this year.
Okay.
Like really, really bottom out. Basically, after years of middling performance since Brady left, the Patriots could be in for a true collapse, potentially leading to major changes in their leadership as they rebuild in this super competitive AFC East that we already covered. Shout out YouTube, check that out. I think that they've been so poorly constructed towards the latter half of Bill Belichick's tenure. Mm-hmm. Except for some defensive pieces, they have drafted pretty poorly. I think they drafted a guard. Was it what's his name? Strange, but I think that was his name.
Yeah, Cole Strange.
Yeah,
right?
Cole Strange, who was like projected as like a 3rd or 4th round pick. I remember when I was like, looking at doing all my PFF mocks, I always could get him, and like, and those were obviously not 100% accurate, but like he was always going to like 4th or 5th round, and I would always mock him to the Giants because he's a good player. Yeah, but like you don't draft a guard in the first round, that guard in the first round. But listen, obviously they got Drake May, so that's huge. But will Drake May be enough to stop a full-blown collapse? I don't think so. And I think Mayo, he could be one and done. And I think he's going to be a scapegoat because he's basically still Bill Belichick. He's still that Patriot way. And I think that they're going to fire him and they'll just go outside the organization and completely start fresh. But here's the caveat. Robert Kraft is old. Does he want to do that? I don't know. But the way they handled their GM position this offseason was so weird. It was just like not conductive to like running a good team. I don't know. It's just an ugly spot to be in. And I think that we haven't seen the bottom yet completely.
It was surprising that, I would have thought that when they get rid of Bill or when whatever, they mutually part ways or however they worded it, that you'd go get not Bill, like somebody not really like entrenched in that tree. Like that was what I was expecting. Not to say Gerard Mayo is going to be a bad coach, but I was expecting somebody not so already like aligned in that kind of way, like the Patriot way, quote unquote. Gerard Mayo going one and done might be the hot take there. Like that's the spicy part because I
said I started out lukewarm.
Yeah. That might be the spicy part. It wouldn't like totally shock me. It wouldn't totally shock me. They definitely need some work. It's not going to be a pretty year in New England.
Yeah, if their defense is not elite, like it's going to be rough. I mean, listen, Drake May could be incredible, and hopefully they start him, and he could be, the next one, and then I look stupid. But I don't know. I don't even know if they're going to play him.
It's true. Yeah, they might not. Honestly, like the more I think about that, the more it's like, what's really the point of not playing him? Like, you might as well just play him.
Yeah, we've talked that through. I think you have to play him. Just play him.
Really, what is there to lose?
Jacoby Brissett is not. If this team was a little bit better, I would just say, start Jacoby and see what you could do. Let Drake build, but they're just let him go. Let him take his lumps. Let him build some repertoire with his receivers and see what he's got.
It's not like the difference between starting Jacoby Brissett and starting Drake May is Jacoby Brissett. Like, you don't feel like a playoff team with Jacoby Brissett. No. You know what I mean? Like that's so.
It's not even like remotely close, especially in the AFC East.
Right.
Yeah, man. Let him take his lumps. Jacoby Brissett just doesn't do it for me at all.
All right. Gerard Mayo, you're on notice.
You're
Very
out.
first. All right, my first one is related a little bit to fantasy, related a little bit to NFL. Got to talk tight ends. Got to show the tight ends some love. There's a guy who I think will finish as the tight end one, and his name is Kyle Pitts. And not only do I think Kyle Pitts will be the tight end one, I think Kyle Pitts will lead the league in receiving yards for tight ends.
Oh my gosh.
And I think Kyle Pitts will have over 1,200 yards receiving. Okay. Lump that all into one take. For context, last year, George Kittle led the league in receiving yards for tight ends with 1,023. Kelsey had 984. Evan Ingram had 963. Hawkinson had 960. Laporta, 889. Njoku, 882. And Trey McBride, 825. Rounding out the top 10 was Ferguson with 761, Cole Kmet with 719, and Dalton Kincaid with 673. I think, that Mark Andrews obviously wasn't in there. He was further down the list, missed some time. But I think the Pitts pop year is here. Off of 2 years that had Kyle Pitts playing in just Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
Not great, and Desmond Ridder at quarterback. And in 2021, as a rookie, I don't know why we gloss over this and act like it never happened. But in 2021, as a rookie, with the corpse of Matt Ryan throwing him the football, Kyle Pitts averaged 15.1 yards per reception and had 1,026 yards on 68 catches. 68 catches. Saying he's going to have 1,200 plus might not even be hot, because it could be even more than that, honestly.
Yeah.
Because now he gets a quarterback that I know Kirk, tore the Achilles last year, but 3 consecutive years before that was over 4,000 yards and threw right around or over 30 touchdowns. In 2020, he threw 42, 65 and 35 touchdowns. 2021, 42, 21 and 33 touchdowns. 2022, 4,500 yards and 29 touchdowns. So I think you're living in that Jared Goff realm, right? 4,000 to 4,500 yards and 30-ish plus or minus a few touchdowns. Look, I love Drake London, but he ain't getting it all.
No.
And I think Pitts is going to get absolute, he'll finish as the tight end one. Pitts is wide receiver 2 there. He's, or 1A, whatever you want to call it. That offense.
1A,
yeah, that offense, him and London are the guys. And I think that Kirk is going to absolutely love him. I don't know. I don't know why we throw away 1,000-yard receiving season from a 21-year-old rookie tight end and act like it didn't happen. I know the next year wasn't great. I know the year after that was pretty, mid, but I think the context is super important. The Falcons were not very good, had very bad quarterback play with an absolutely horrible offensive coach. We know that offensive coach also kept Tyler Algier involved to the detriment of Bijan Robinson, who they drafted with a top 10 pick. Pitts is going to pop this year. He's going to explode. He's the tight end one. If you held him or if you traded for him at a discount in Dynasty over the past couple of years while people jumped off board, congratulations, because you're finally going to reap the reward of him blowing up this year.
Yeah, man, you pretty much nailed that. I don't really want to, anything I was going to add would pretty much be repeating what you had to say, except for Desmond Ridder was his quarterback.
Desmond Ridder.
Is he even on? I think he's the Cardinals' backup or third stringer.
Desmond Ridder.
He might get cut.
Yeah.
And that's who they decided to be their quarterback. The Falcons were so perplexing the last couple of years because they've had a pretty decent squad, and they finally made a decision to pay Kurt. I think the Falcons could be an offensive powerhouse.
I think so too. All right, go ahead. What do you got for your second one?
Well, I was going to go with another one, but I'll go into this one because they link. So apparently the Falcons are going to be the best team in the NFL for fantasy football because I have Bijan Robinson breaking the CJ2K's scrimmage yard record.
Oh, let's go.
Listen, Bijan, he's been that guy for, we've been talking about him for a couple of years now. If you're into, Devy, I'm just going to regurgitate what you basically said about, Pitts. He was so handcuffed last year by the play calling, and he still finished as RB9. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I really don't have much to add to that. I just think that's probably a super spicy, not really super spicy because that's going to be hard for a running back to do that, but I'm saying all purpose yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, especially with Kurt coming off this injury, he might look to dink and dunk a little bit early on. And if Bijan is what they're saying, that he's more explosive than he was last year in practice,
Which is crazy.
good luck.
A more explosive Bijan Robinson is frankly terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have too much more to add to that. I just wanted to. I wasn't even going to mention that. I had that one as like 4B, but I was just like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? This one, I'm going to throw this in here because Anthony just spoke about Kyle Pitts, and apparently we're really high on the Falcons.
Yeah, I think the Falcons could really be a wagon offensively.
And that division, I mean, most of them are either in good weather or in domes. Like, it's very conducive to, offensive production.
Yeah, could get some. I hope we see it too. Like, just give Bijan the huge workload. Let's get the huge Pitts and London years. These guys have all deserved it after suffering through the Arthur Smith, Desmond Ritter era. Like, let all these terrific weapons finally shine.
Like, no offense to Tyler Algier, I'm sure he's a good person, but like he was the thing last year. And
Yeah.
that makes no sense when you have Bijan Robinson on your team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Algier's a fine running back. Like,
Fine, yeah.
but he's not Bijan. And like he
Right.
shouldn't ever be taking the opportunities from Bijan.
No. Not when you've used that kind of capital
Yeah.
on a player.
Yeah, not when you use a top 10 pick on a running back. All right. I got a defensive take for you.
Okay.
Curious to see what you think about it. Pass rusher take. I went like mostly big on takes, like big on like this guy's going to do this. I didn't want to be negative. I think bold takes are more fun when they're like, oh, that's crazy if that happens. So Nick Bosa going to break the sack record.
Ooh, we kind of teased that in our,
Gonna break, gonna break the sack record. Gonna go over 22 and a half. I think that Nick Bosa is getting a little like, I know it was 10 and a half sacks last year. I think the holdout really mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, he's still, to me, if he's not the best pass rusher in football, he's what, 2 or 3?
Yeah.
And I think the context of it is that I think San Fran's really going to get after it and be able to play with a lead a lot of the time and put Bosa in a situation where he's really just going to be able to get after it. And it wouldn't shock me at all if, we're a few weeks into the season and if we're 5, 6, 7 weeks in, whatever, and we're already talking about, oh, Bosa's got double-digit sacks, like not finishing with 10 and a half where he's at the 10 and a half point, early on in the season. And all it takes is a couple of those big games where he racks up, 3 in a game or something like that, especially given the context of a 17-game season now. I think he does it. I think he gets over 22 and a half. I mean, he had 18 and a half in 2022. So, and 15 and a half the year before that. So he's been within striking distance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he kind of puts himself back in that conversation as, hey, I'm the best pass rusher in football.
Yeah, I was just taking a peek at their schedule, and
he will get 0 sacks week 1 against
0.
the Jets.
Okay.
0.
Well,
So it's still like a 16-game season, actually.
You're going to start the year with 10 sacks, and you're going to be miserable, but also kind of happy because your hot take is on pace.
Make sure to listen to that podcast episode if Nick Bosa has 10 sacks week 1, because I will be unhinged.
Oh, my goodness.
What do you think? Reasonable to think Bosa goes over 22 and a half?
Yeah, we kind of teased that in our last episode. We were talking about the, season-long futures bets. Why not? It's not far-fetched. He's on
Someone's going to get there eventually.
With the extra game, he's on, however you want to look at it. Nobody's going to say they're not a top 3 or 4 team. They're going to be playing from ahead. They're going to be pinning back. They've got a solid defense. I don't even think that's like a super, super hot take. I think Bosa's still elite. He's just been kind of injured a couple of years. If it's just like anything, if he pieces it all together, he has a couple of, lucky breaks, a couple of favorable stats, some home cooking and some of those half sacks.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
This one felt like the warmest of the takes. The rest were hotter. This one felt like, maybe we should have led with this one, the appetizer. Let us know what you thought. If you agree, disagree, have any takes of your own. If you're watching on YouTube, comment them down below. Let us know what you think of these takes, or if you've got takes of your own that you want to share. Or you can always let us know on Twitter X, whatever it's called. I'm at Dynasty Drive. Pete is at Pietro Bets.
Keep the drive alive. Don't forget to like and subscribe.